The internet world in 2000. In 2000, the internet was still like the Wild West. Average connection speed, 56 kbps. Downloading a single MP3 song took 10 to 15 minutes. Favorite browsers, Internet Explorer 5 or Netscape Navigator. And most importantly, the internet business model was still vague. Many cool sites went bankrupt because there was no clear way to make money. Google's challenges at that time. Google, which had only been officially founded for 2 years, had a big problem: how to fund their ever-growing servers without scaring users away with a flood of ads. Larry Page and Sergey Brin were very anti-intrusive ads. They didn't want to follow in the footsteps of Yahoo or AltaVista, which filled the screen with huge banners and pop-ups. The birth of AdWords. In October 2000, Google launched AdWords, a text-based advertising system that appears only when relevant to user searches. At first, AdWords had just 350 customers. The ads were simple: small text, no images, no annoying animations. What was the big difference compared to competitors? Relevance. Ads show up because you're actually searching for those things. For example, if you type "best running shoes," ads from shoe stores will pop up right above the search results. Big changes in 2002. 2 years after its launch, Google changed AdWords' business model to a CPC, cost per click, keyword auction system. This means advertisers bid on certain keywords, but only pay when someone actually clicks on their ads. This innovation turned AdWords into a money-making machine. Fairer for advertisers, pay only if the ad works. More profitable for Google, each click is worth dollars. More relevant for users, ads aligned with interests. Financial impact. Google's revenue skyrocketed. 2001, annual revenue was about $86 million. 2004, jumped to $3.2 billion. 2010, AdWords accounted for over 95% of Google's revenue. Fun fact: to this day, AdWords, now called Google Ads, remains the backbone of Google's business, contributing tens of billions of dollars each year. Philosophy that remains intact. Even though AdWords is a money-making machine, Google still sticks to the principle that ads should be helpful, not disruptive. Ads are always labeled as sponsored and look similar to regular search results, making them feel natural. This principle helps Google keep user trust, even as they became a giant. Legacy AdWords. The launch of AdWords in 2000 was probably Google's biggest pivot moment. Without AdWords, Google might have just ended up as one of those search engines that lost out to competitors. With AdWords, Google funded other product expansions: Gmail, Maps, Android, even YouTube. In short, AdWords was the gas that powered the entire Google machine for the next 2 decades. Year 2001, Google Image Search. At first, Google was just a text search engine. But in early 2001, something happened that made Google rethink things. At the Grammy Awards, singer Jennifer Lopez showed up in that legendary green dress, causing a stir worldwide. Millions of people tried to find photos of her on Google, but back then, the search engine couldn't show images directly. Larry Page then said, "We need to have image search." Just a few months later, Google Image Search was born with an initial collection of 250 million images. It not only solved the Jennifer Lopez dress problem, but also paved the way for the visual internet world we know today. Year 2002, Google News. 2002 was the year the world started realizing that the internet wasn't just for entertainment, but also the fastest source of news. Google launched Google News, an aggregator that collects news from thousands of sites around the world, organizing it by topic and time. This feature was unique because it used algorithms instead of human editors. It presented news from various perspectives. It updated every 15 minutes, super fast for its time. Fun fact: the idea came after the 9/11 tragedy in 2001, when news searches skyrocketed and Google saw an opportunity to help people access real-time information. Year 2004 Gmail, the revolutionary email. On April 1, 2004, Google announced the launch of Gmail. Many thought it was an April Fool's joke because the offer sounded unbelievable. 1 gigabyte of free storage, while competitors like Yahoo Mail or Hotmail only provided 2 to 4 megabytes. Not only was the capacity insane, but Gmail also had quick inbox search using Google search technology, email threading like conversations, much more advanced spam filtering. The Gmail launch was done through an invitation system, which made people even more curious. Having a Gmail account became like having an exclusive item, with some even selling invitations on eBay. Year 2005 Google Maps, mapping the world. Initially, Google Maps was a project from an Australian company called Where2 Technologies, which Google acquired in 2004. In February 2005, Google officially launched Google Maps, and it instantly shook up how people looked for directions. Before that, people relied on paper maps, or if they went online, they had to manually click on a slow static map. Google Maps offers an interactive map that you can drag, quick address search, integration with Google Search. Fun fact: the Street View feature was first tested in 5 cities in the US in 2007, but the basic idea had been conceived back in 2005. Google Earth, flying from your computer screen. In 2005, Google launched Google Earth after acquiring Keyhole Incorporated. This app allows users to fly around the world, seeing cities, mountains, and oceans from satellite photos. For many people, it was the first time they could see their own house from space, a mind-blowing experience in its time. Android, the preparation to conquer the mobile world. In 2005, Google quietly bought Android Incorporated, a small startup developing an operating system for digital cameras. However, after the acquisition, Android's focus was completely shifted to become a platform for smartphones. The strategy was clear: the future lies in mobile devices, and Google didn't want to fall behind Microsoft or Apple. Fun fact: when Google purchased it, Android had less than 10 employees. Now, Android dominates over 70% of the global smartphone market. Year 2006, acquisition of YouTube, taking over online entertainment. In October 2006, Google announced its acquisition of YouTube for $1.65 billion in stock. Many analysts at the time thought this price was crazy, considering YouTube had only been around for a year and hadn't made a profit yet. But Google saw huge potential. YouTube already had 100 million video views per day. The content was dominated by user-generated content, something fresh and booming. Young people were starting to spend more time on YouTube than on TV. Fun fact: one reason YouTube became so popular so quickly was its ability to embed videos on other sites with a simple embed code, simple but revolutionary. Year 2007, Android announced to the public. Even though Google bought Android in 2005, it wasn't until November 2007 that they officially announced the Open Handset Alliance, OHA, a consortium of 34 tech companies and mobile operators supporting the development of Android as an open-source operating system. Why is this important? At that time, the smartphone market was still dominated by BlackBerry and Nokia. Apple had just released the first-generation iPhone, 2007. Android offered flexibility. Manufacturers could modify it freely, and developers could create apps without restrictions. Fun fact: Android was initially not designed for touchscreens, but for phones with physical buttons. A major change occurred after the iPhone was released. 2008, the launch of Google Chrome. On September 2, 2008, Google released Google Chrome. It was a bold move, given that browsers at the time were dominated by Internet Explorer, Microsoft, and Firefox, Mozilla. So, why did Chrome become popular right away? Speed. The V8 JavaScript engine made websites feel lighter. Simplicity. A minimal toolbar design that focuses on content. Separate tabs. If one tab crashes, the others stay safe. Omnibox. A URL bar that also acts as a search box. Chrome didn't just become a browser, it turned into the main gateway to all Google services: Gmail, YouTube, Maps, Search. Fun fact: Google announced Chrome through a digital comic by Scott McCloud, a unique and viral promotional move. Public release of Android, HTC Dream T-Mobile G1 2008. In October 2008, the first Android phone was officially launched, HTC Dream, known as T-Mobile G1 in the US. Unique specs for its time. Physical QWERTY keyboard plus touchscreen. Google Maps with built-in Street View. Android market, the precursor to Google Play. Though it wasn't as popular as the iPhone back then, the HTC Dream showed that Android had huge potential as an open alternative. 2009, service expansion and integration. 2009 was the time when Google tightened the knot. Google Voice, one number for all devices. Google Attitude, real-time location sharing service, the predecessor to Google Maps location sharing. The YouTube Partner Program was booming, paving the way for creators to make money. Android started getting major updates: Cupcake, Donut, Eclair, that improved its look and performance. Fun fact: the YouTube Partner Program in 2009 gave rise to the early generation of professional YouTubers, covering everything from vlogs to music to gaming. Android explodes in the smartphone market. By the end of 2010, Android was no longer a newcomer. The stats say it all. From just 3% of the smartphone market share in 2009 skyrocketed to 33% by Q4 2010. HTC, Samsung, Motorola, and LG started cranking out Android smartphones in bulk. Android market, now Google Play, grew from 16,000 apps at the start of 2010 to 200,000 apps by the end of the year. Key factors: a ton of price options from flagship to entry-level. Major software updates: Android 2.2 Froyo and 2.3 Gingerbread that brought speed and new features. Full integration with Google services: Gmail, Maps, YouTube, Search. Chrome overtakes competitors. Chrome, which was born in 2008, only took 2 years to surpass Safari and Opera, and even started to pressure Firefox. By the end of 2010, Chrome reached a 12% share of the global browser market. The automatic update strategy keeps Chrome fast without the hassle of manual updates. Google account synchronization allows bookmarks and history to be accessed anywhere. Fun fact: Chrome first became popular among developers because it was lightweight and compatible with the latest web technologies. From there, mass adoption began. YouTube became a global entertainment machine. 2010 marked the beginning of YouTube as a world stage. YouTube was serving 2 billion views a day. The YouTube Partner Program was opened up widely, sparking a boom in content creators. Viral videos like Double Rainbow, Bed Intruder Song, and OK Go, This Too Shall Pass became global talking points. Fun fact: 2010 was also the first year YouTube started to broadcast major live streaming events, like concerts and political debates. Google got into the cloud, Google Docs and Google Apps. At the end of 2010, Google started to seriously market Google Docs and Google Apps for businesses. A cheap, cloud-based alternative to Microsoft Office. Accessible from anywhere, just use a browser. Perfect for real-time collaboration, something that was really tough to do with desktop software back then. We will explore in more depth in Segment C, expansion, alphabet structure, and the modern Google era 2012 to 2023 in the next section. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, you can like, comment with your opinions, and subscribe for more interesting information next. See you in my next video. Bye.